Chosen one, there may come a day when you no longer need to search for jobs the way you do now. Not because money appears from nowhere, not because responsibility disappears, and not because every person hearing this should walk away from employment tomorrow. The shift begins when you stop treating a job as the source of your value. A job is only one vehicle through which your value can move. Most people were trained to begin with one question: who is hiring? That question sounds practical, but it quietly hands the first move to someone else. Someone else must notice a need first. Someone else must create the position. Someone else defines the requirements. Someone else decides what the work is worth. Then you raise your hand and hope to be considered. That system becomes dangerous only when you forget there is another way. Ask a different question. What problem can I solve? So clearly that value becomes obvious before anyone creates a job description. A job seeker searches for openings. A value creator searches for problems. And problems exist everywhere, inside businesses, homes, communities, and daily frustrations people have accepted. So hear this carefully. I am not telling you to become irresponsible. If you need stable income, honor that responsibility. If the right position appears, take it without shame. The message is simple. Stop believing that a vacancy from somebody else is the only doorway through which provision can reach you. Some of you have spent months polishing resumes while ignoring a skill people already ask you for. Some keep applying for roles that use only a small part of what they can do. Others carry the same idea for years, yet every time it returns, fear produces 20 reasons to delay. That final group needs to listen closely. A capable person can have skill, experience, faith, and opportunity, yet still fail to see the next move clearly. There is a reason for that fog. Later, we will return to it, because understanding that gap can change far more than your career. But first, we need to expose the trap. It makes capable people spend years asking to be chosen when they already carry something worth choosing. The trap is not employment itself. The trap is believing that your worth becomes real only after somebody approves it. Look at the pattern. You apply with confidence, then you apply with hope, then you apply with anxiety. After enough silence, you begin editing yourself before anyone rejects you. You lower the number. You shrink the ambition. You remove the unusual parts, because acceptance starts feeling more important than usefulness. That is where identity begins to bend. You stop asking what you can contribute. You start asking how acceptable you can become. Chosen one, that is not the direction we are taking here. Your work may need a vehicle, but your value exists before the vehicle. So make this declaration now. I choose value over permission. Write it if it helps you claim the shift. I choose value over permission. In the next part, you are going to see the hidden pattern that turns job searching from a practical tool into a psychological cage. Once you see it, rejection will look different. A company can reject an application. It cannot erase your capacity. A closed door can delay a route. It cannot define your calling. What matters now is learning to recognize what you carry before another person names it for you. Chosen one. This is where the applicant trap becomes visible. It begins quietly. You open one job site, then another. You adjust your resume again. You check your inbox all day. At first, it feels like discipline. Then something changes. The search stops being a tool and starts becoming a mirror. Every silence feels personal. Every rejection feels like evidence. You begin asking what is wrong with you, even when one company simply chose another candidate. This is the applicant trap. Applying is not the problem. The trap begins when you believe your value is real only after somebody selects it. That belief can shrink a gifted person fast, because every external no starts sounding like an internal verdict. Joseph had capacity before Pharaoh gave him a position. The role did not create the gift. A problem appeared first. There was uncertainty and a need for strategy. His usefulness existed before the title. That matters because many people reverse the order. They wait for a title to tell them what they are useful for. They wait for a company to name the need. Sometimes your direction becomes clearer when you notice what people already bring to you. Think carefully. What do people repeatedly ask you to explain? What do they trust you to organize? What problem do you notice faster than others? What becomes easier when you enter the room? These are practical clues. Complete 3 simple sentences honestly. People often ask me to help with something specific. I notice problems around something specific faster than most people. I can make something specific easier, faster, calmer, clearer, or more effective. Do not make the answers impressive. Make them true. Maybe people ask you to fix confusing documents. Maybe you calm angry customers. Maybe you see errors others miss. Maybe you explain technology simply. Maybe you organize chaos without making people feel foolish. You may think this sounds like another message telling everyone to start a business. It is not. A value creator can be an employee, contractor, freelancer, consultant, owner, or caregiver. The identity comes before the business model. The difference is simple. An applicant asks where they can fit. A value creator asks where they can help. One waits for a defined opening. The other learns to recognize a useful contribution before the opening has a name. This does not mean every contribution becomes income. It does not mean every idea becomes a business. It means you stop outsourcing the discovery of your value to job descriptions. You begin collecting evidence from real requests, problems, patterns, and results. And another distinction matters. A skill is not yet an offer. Being creative is not an offer. Being organized is not an offer. Knowing marketing is not an offer. Those are ingredients. The market responds when those ingredients become a useful outcome. So, before you search for another opening, watch for one thing: friction. Notice what wastes time. Notice what confuses people. Notice what repeatedly breaks. Notice what people complain about but never solve. That is where the next breakthrough begins. The moment you learn to see friction, you stop moving through the world as someone waiting for permission. You start seeing problems that may already be asking for the exact kind of value you carry. Chosen one. The next breakthrough begins when you stop searching only for openings and start searching for friction. Friction wastes time, creates confusion, or blocks a result someone already wants. Most people do not notice it this way. They see a slow process and accept it. They see a confused customer and move on. They see a broken system and complain. A value creator asks a different question. Why is this still difficult? You may think your problem is that you do not know your purpose, but sometimes the real issue is that you were trained to look for roles instead of problems. A role is packaged. A problem still waits to be understood. Opportunity can remain invisible even when it is close. You are scanning for job titles while life is showing you friction. You wait for a vacancy while someone nearby struggles with something you could simplify. Applicants notice vacancies. Value creators notice friction. That does not mean every frustration should become a business. Problems are often the raw material of useful work. So build a friction inventory. For the next 2 days, do not force yourself to invent a brilliant idea. Just observe. Write down 5 things people complain about. Write down 5 things that waste time. Write down 5 things people avoid because they do not know how to do them well. Then add 5 desired results. What do people around you wish were easier, faster, calmer, clearer, safer, or more profitable? Do not judge the answers yet. Collect signals. Clarity often appears after observation. You may notice that small teams lose hours organizing information. You may notice someone paying too much for a process you can simplify. None of these observations guarantee income. We are gathering evidence, not making promises. A real opportunity needs a real person, a real problem, and a result they actually care about. This changes your emotional position. Instead of waking up, asking who might choose you today, you begin asking, what can I understand better today? That question restores agency before anyone replies. Now imagine a different morning. You are not opening 14 job tabs before your mind is fully awake. You open one document. At the top is one question. What problem am I solving this week? Under it, you have one person in mind, one painful problem, one small result you could help create. Maybe there is no business or client yet, but there is movement, because your attention is no longer scattered across doors you cannot control. This is the first glimpse of provision without desperation. Not magical money, not instant success. It is agency. It is the ability to notice a need, make a useful response, and test whether that response matters to someone else. If this is landing in you, keep the next declaration simple. Show me the problem. Not the perfect career, not the 10-year plan. Show me the problem I can understand, the person I can serve, and the next useful step I can test. But finding a problem is not enough. You can notice friction all day and still remain stuck if you cannot translate what you know into a clear result. That is where many gifted people lose momentum. Because skill is not the same as an offer. Knowledge is not the same as an offer. Calling is not the same as an offer. In the next part, we close that gap, and you may discover you already have more raw material than you thought. Chosen one. This is where many gifted people misunderstand what they carry. You can have real ability and still struggle to make it useful to someone else. You can know a lot, care deeply, and work hard. But a skill by itself is not yet an offer. Think about the phrases people use. I am creative. I am organized. I know marketing. I am good with people. Those statements may be true, but they do not tell another person what changes because you are there. This is the gap between skill and value. Skill is internal language. Outcome is market language. The world does not only ask what you know, it asks what becomes easier, faster, clearer, calmer, or more profitable because you know it. Use a simple test. One person, one painful problem, one clear outcome. That is enough to begin. Do not build a giant plan yet. Do not create 10 offers. Choose one person you understand well, one problem they already feel, and one result they would recognize. Instead of saying I do social media, say I help local service businesses turn quiet social pages into a steady source of appointment conversations. Instead of saying I am organized, say I help overloaded business owners clean up schedules and inboxes so important work stops getting lost. Notice what changed. The skill did not change. The language changed. You moved from describing yourself to describing a result. That is the bridge most people never build, even after years of collecting qualifications. This does not mean every clear offer will succeed. It means the offer can finally be tested. You are not promising yourself instant income. You are creating something real enough for another human being to respond to. That is a much stronger starting point than waiting for another certificate. It gives you evidence, it gives you feedback, and it gives your next decision something concrete to stand on. Now, hold one question. What if the biggest thing blocking your next move is not a lack of skill, but a lack of clarity about how your skills connect? That question matters more than it appears. Over the past few decades, researchers have studied how different parts of the human brain work together during complex thinking. The product team behind the resource I will describe later connects its approach to that line of research, including work associated with Nobel Prize-winning split brain studies. I am not naming the product yet. I am not asking you to buy anything. I want you to understand the problem first. Because if your mind feels scattered, if ideas arrive but refuse to connect, then adding more information may not solve what fragmentation is doing. Some people remember being sharper when they were younger. They could learn fast, imagine freely, and connect ideas without forcing it. Then adulthood became louder. Pressure increased. Attention fractured. Responsibility multiplied. The person remained capable, but access to that capability began to feel inconsistent. So keep this open question with you. What if the reason you cannot see the opportunity in front of you is not that there is no opportunity, but that the part of you designed to connect the pieces is no longer operating the way it once did? Chosen one, now we reach the place where insight often dies. You understand the idea, you can see the problem, you may even know the person you could help. Then you sit down to act, and your mind seems to scatter in 10 directions. You open the laptop. One thought becomes 5. You research something small, then drift into something unrelated. You remember another idea. 40 minutes pass, and the thing that mattered most is still untouched. This is easy to misread. You call yourself lazy. You say you lack discipline. You wonder whether you have lost your edge. But sometimes, the deeper issue is not willingness, it is fragmentation. Too many signals are competing for the same attention. I call this the receiver gap. You may have useful skill, a real problem, and even a possible offer, but the signal between those pieces is weak. Skill does not connect to problem. Problem does not connect to action. Action gets buried under noise. You may not need more information. You may need less internal interference. That matters, because adding another course to a fragmented mind can create more pieces without creating a clearer picture. Notice your body for a moment. Think of one opportunity you have delayed. Do not judge it. Just notice what happens when you imagine taking the first concrete step. Does your chest tighten? Does your attention jump away? Does your mind create 10 competing tasks? That reaction does not automatically mean the opportunity is wrong. It may mean important action has become linked with pressure, and pressure can make a capable person choose easy distraction over meaningful movement. Some of you have tried productivity systems, some have tried meditation, some have started side projects and abandoned them. That does not prove you cannot change. It may mean you kept treating the visible behavior while the deeper condition remained untouched. Earlier, I asked you to hold a question about why ideas can stop connecting the way they once did. We are coming back to it now. I waited because a solution means little until you understand the problem it is meant to address. The problem is not that you have nothing to offer. The problem is that you can carry value and still struggle to organize it into one clear move. That is the shape of the receiver gap. And here is the missing piece. Why can you understand everything we have discussed and still wake up tomorrow unable to move? Why can insight remain insight instead of becoming action? In plain terms, you need 4 things working together. Stop thinking only like an applicant. Notice friction. Turn a skill into a useful outcome. Then create enough mental clarity to act on one direction before fear multiplies it into 20. That is the why. Now, the what. Your next step is not to solve your whole future. It is to reduce the moving pieces until one useful action becomes obvious. One person, one problem, one outcome, one test. And who needs this most? The person tired of waiting for permission, but also tired of forcing themselves through fog. The person who knows they are capable, yet cannot understand why capability has not become consistent movement. The opportunity may already be visible. The question is whether your mind is clear enough to recognize what you are seeing. That is why the research I mentioned earlier matters here. Not because science replaces faith, not because a tool can create your calling. But if clarity is part of the bottleneck, understanding how the brain coordinates information becomes relevant to the work in front of you. Chosen one, there is a piece of research behind the resource I promised to return to. In 1981, Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize for work involving split brain research. His work helped deepen scientific understanding of how the 2 hemispheres contribute differently to human thought. The product team builds its explanation from that foundation. They describe the goal as hemisphere synchronization and whole brain activation. They also claim that modern life can weaken the coordinated state many people remember as natural creativity and mental sharpness earlier in life. One woman from California described living with a fog that had become normal. She had tried spiritual practices and kept searching for a sense of inner connection. According to her account, after using the auditory sequence consistently, she felt clearer, calmer, and more connected to her own decisions. A man from Texas reported something different but related. He carried business and family responsibility while feeling mentally dull and scattered. In his account, consistent use was followed by a sense that his mind was working together again, and the fog he had stopped noticing became easier to recognize by its absence. These are individual reports, not guarantees. They show the kind of problem the team wanted to address. A team led by Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York City, developed an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. They call it the genius switch. The team describes it as neural sync technology designed to support hemisphere synchronization and whole brain activation. You use headphones, close your eyes, relax, and listen for 8 minutes each day. It is not presented as a meditation program. It does not require mantras, journaling, or a complicated daily ritual. The team also distinguishes it from ordinary sound products that address only part of the picture. The genius switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one who recognizes that clarity matters. You may have done years of inner work, but if mental fog keeps interrupting action, then supporting clarity may deserve serious attention. A tool does not give you purpose or create courage for you. It means you can choose to support the mind that must carry your decisions, your work, and your responsibility into the world. Now consider the price structure described on the official page. Colleagues around the project reportedly believed the value could justify a price near $500. The regular listed price is $49. The current page presents an additional reduction to $39. That purchase also includes 4 digital bonuses. One is a guided visualization. One is a smart grocery shopping guide. One is a classic manifestation book, included as a bonus resource. And one is a printable infographic, covering 5 habits for supporting an ideal future. The product file also states that access is lifetime. The team offers a 100% money-back guarantee, even if you have listened more than once. Read the exact terms on the official page before making any decision. The current $39 offer is not described as permanent. The team says the price may increase. Treat that as information, not pressure. The deeper question is whether continuing through the same fog costs you more than testing a tool built to address clarity. There is also one warning worth hearing. The team says the authentic version is distributed only through its official website. Similar sounding tracks may appear elsewhere, but the team says those copies do not contain the same technology. So, if your spirit resonates with what has been described, use only the link in the description or the pinned comment. That path leads to the official page where you can read the details yourself before deciding. And remember what this is connected to. The point is not to become dependent on a product. The point is to become clear enough to recognize the value you already carry, choose one meaningful direction, and act without letting mental noise turn every possibility into another unfinished idea. Chosen one. The tool does not replace God. It does not create your calling. It does not build the offer for you. It cannot choose courage on your behalf. What it can do is support the clarity with which you meet the work already in front of you. That matters because clarity without action changes very little. You can understand the applicant trap. You can recognize friction. You can identify a useful skill. But if none of that becomes a test in the real world, you are still living inside theory. So here is the next move. Give yourself 72 hours. Do not build a website. Do not design a logo. Do not register a company. Do not spend 3 days researching tools. Choose one problem, one person, and one result you believe you can help create. Then speak to 3 real people who fit that problem. Ask how they handle it now. Ask what frustrates them most. Ask what they have already tried. Listen for repeated language, because repeated frustration is often a stronger signal than your own assumptions. After those conversations, write one simple offer sentence. I help this kind of person solve this kind of problem so they can reach this kind of result. Keep it plain. Keep it specific. If the sentence feels vague, the value is still too foggy. Then offer a small pilot if the fit is real. A short audit, a sample, a simple service, a trial project. The goal is not to become rich in 72 hours. The goal is to create evidence that somebody cares about the problem you can solve. If they do not care, that is useful too. You refine the problem instead of blaming yourself. Your output is simple. 3 conversations, 1 refined problem statement, 1 offer sentence, 1 clear signal about demand. That is enough to move from imagination into feedback, and feedback is stronger than endless guessing. Some of you need income right now. Honor that reality. Take stabilizing work if you need it. Pay the bills. Protect your household. There is no shame in using a job as support while you build a clearer path beside it. Survival income can support the transition. It does not have to become the ceiling. You can work today and still build tomorrow. You can accept stability without surrendering the deeper question of what value you are capable of creating. This is where faith becomes practical, not fantasy, not denial. You notice what is real, you use what you have, and you test one faithful step. You do not demand certainty before movement. You let movement produce information. So make the next declaration simple. I will test my value. Not someday, not after another course, not after perfect confidence arrives. I will test my value in the real world, with real people, around a real problem. Because once evidence begins to appear, something else changes. You stop needing to tell yourself you are useful. You start seeing proof, and that proof becomes the foundation for the strongest shift in this entire message. Chosen one, this is the deepest shift. You do not need to walk into every room carrying the silent question, will you choose me? You can walk in carrying another question, what can I solve here? Think about an interview. Desperation makes you focus on approval. You watch every expression. You try to say the perfect thing. You measure your worth through the reaction across the table. But usefulness creates a different posture. Instead of asking only how you can fit, you begin noticing what the organization is struggling with. You ask better questions. You listen for friction. You connect your experience to a specific result. Many people think they need confidence before they can act. Often the order works the other way. Action creates evidence. Evidence creates trust in yourself. And repeated evidence makes confidence feel less like a mood and more like memory. So do not wait to feel extraordinary. Build proof. Create a sample. Offer a mini audit. Show a before and after. Demonstrate how you think. Complete a small pilot. Give people something concrete enough to evaluate. Imagine walking into a conversation without begging for a chance. You notice a problem and say that you have an idea for improving it. You explain what you see. You show a small example. You let usefulness speak before insecurity has time to perform. And if they say no, your value does not disappear. One person can reject the offer that does not erase the skill. It gives you information. You can refine the message or bring the offer somewhere else. That is economic dignity. Your identity is no longer trapped inside somebody else's decision. You can still pursue a job. You can still accept a role. But you are no longer entering every room as if permission is the source of your future. Now close the loop from the beginning. Ask yourself one question. If nobody posted a job for this skill, could I still use it to create a result somebody values? If the answer is yes, you may be looking at the seed of independent value. If the answer is no, the skill may need sharpening, combining, or repositioning. If you do not know yet, return to the 72-hour experiment and gather evidence. And for the chosen one who felt something stir when mental clarity was discussed earlier, the resource described before remains available through the description and pinned comment. Read the official details for yourself and decide without pressure, then bring your attention back here. The resource is optional, the principle is not. A job is one vehicle for your value. It is not the source of your value. The applicant trap loses power when you see that clearly. Employment is not the enemy. Dependence on permission is the trap. You can choose a job from strength. You can also build outside one without treating yourself like a failure. Tomorrow, do not ask only who is hiring. Ask where friction exists. Ask what you can improve. Ask who needs the result. Then create something small enough to test and useful enough to teach you what the next move should be. You do not need a perfect future tonight. You need a clearer relationship with your own usefulness. Once that changes, rejection becomes information, opportunity becomes broader, and movement no longer waits for someone else to announce that you are allowed to begin. Chosen one. Before this message closes, bring everything back to one quiet truth. You can work a job. You can search for a job. You can accept help, stability, and honest income. But you do not have to let job searching become the limit of your imagination. Take one slow breath. Let your shoulders soften. Close your eyes if it is safe to do so. Picture two doors in front of you. One door carries the question, who will choose me? The other carries a different question, what can I faithfully create? Do not force an answer. Notice which question tightens your body and which one gives you room to breathe. The first depends on permission. The second returns responsibility to your hands. Now picture yourself walking through the second door. You are not promised instant money. You are not promised an easy road. You become willing to notice problems, serve people, test ideas, and learn from reality. Place a hand lightly over your chest if that feels natural. Breathe once more. Then say this slowly. My value exists before permission. Let the sentence land without turning it into pride. Value becomes meaningful when it is used in service. This is the plain truth of everything we have covered. Stop thinking only like an applicant. Learn to notice friction. Turn vague skills into clear outcomes. Test demand with real people. Build evidence. Support your clarity. Choose from agency instead of desperation. You may still send an application tomorrow. You may accept a temporary role. That does not make you less chosen. Honest work can support your transition while a deeper path becomes clearer through action. Now, release the shame attached to closed doors. Release the shame attached to unemployment. Release the shame attached to needing help. Release the belief that another person's yes is the final verdict on what your life can become. Be grateful for the abilities that survived rejection. Be grateful for lessons inside failed attempts. Be grateful for ideas that kept returning when you were too tired to act. Some ideas return because they still deserve an honest test. And now, make the declaration. I am not waiting for permission to have value. I am learning to recognize what I carry. I am willing to solve what others overlook. I am willing to test, learn, and refine. I am not beneath honest work. I am not imprisoned by one form of work. I am available for clarity. I am available for courage. I am available for useful service. I am ready to become a creator of value. Let that be your commissioning. Tomorrow, do not spend the whole day asking who is hiring. Ask another question too. What problem is waiting for somebody like me to notice it? Then act on one answer. Send one message. Make one sample. Ask one person. Improve one process. Take one small step that creates evidence. You do not need to prove your entire future in a day. You need to stop abandoning your value before it has been tested. If this is the decision you are making, write these words. I create value with courage. Let that be more than a comment. Let it mark the moment you stopped asking only to be chosen and started becoming someone who can recognize, create, and carry value wherever God leads you.